It is really clear from scripture that God has a plan and a purpose for your life. In Psalm 139, it says that all the days of your life are written in his book. It's such a beautiful psalm. In order to know what it is that we're created for, it's going to take hearing from God, listening to him, understanding who he is and who we are made in him. And yes, there is a general overall purpose for our lives. That's to love him with all our heart, soul, minds, and bodies, and to love others as ourselves. But he also created you and me uniquely. We carry unique aspects of who he is, and we get to shine that to the world. And when we come to know Jesus and when we get filled with his light, that's what we end up carrying, is his light and his essence to the world. And because of that, there is going to be opposition from the enemy who operates in darkness, who does not want us to shine the light of Jesus. In this short video, I'm going to share a testimony to help just bring a little bit more to that aspect of who we are in God and this plan and purpose that he has for our lives. And at the end of this video, I'm going to link to another video where I share from the Bible a story about Joseph and the opposition that he received and how God helped him through it. And I'm also going to share another personal story about how he did that in my life in another way. And then at the end of that video, I'm going to share just time of prayer and meditation to help lead you through a dialogue with God in this very area of your life. If you like this video, please, if you would like, comment, subscribe, share, it will help me get this out to more people. Would so appreciate that. Now to the story. Okay, so I mentioned that we have this overarching purpose of what God has for us to do in life, to love him, to love others. That's awesome. At the same time, he created you and me uniquely. Just like we have a unique physical DNA, we have a unique spiritual DNA. And what I've been called to do, I'm called to do. What you've been called to do, you're called to do. And that's going to be unique for each one of us. Plus, too, they're going to be just various aspects of what he calls us to do as part of that. Meaning, I know that I'm called hugely to evangelism. That's a big part of what God has called me to do, but it isn't like just a general call. There's like very specific ways that he's actually designed me to do it. Okay, within that, there was a particular year where I heard God ask me as an itinerant minister to dedicate half of my schedule to going on outreach. Now, what that meant in that season of my life was to go to different New Age festivals, primarily, take teams with me, and to lead teams in praying for people and prophesying over people, interpreting dreams for them, praying for healing for them, leading them into encounters with Jesus. It was such a beautiful thing. It's one of my favorite things to do to this day. But at that time, I still struggled with a fear of lack and a spirit of poverty. And so when I heard God say this to me, while I was excited about it, I was also like, well, okay, so I better figure out how to get all the other events in through the year, the ones for which that are going to pay my salary. I didn't make a lot of money. I made enough to live on, and I knew I had to have a certain number of events with an average honorarium of a certain amount in order to be able to just pay my bills. So my logic was, okay, let me get all those kind of scheduled, and then once I get those scheduled, then I'll slot in the outreaches that God is asking me to do. Because outreaches, when they cost a lot of money. You've got to raise a lot of money for that. And so my logic kind of just kicked in around the spirit of poverty and fear of lack that I had at that time. And unlike previous years as an itinerant minister where my schedule filled up really quickly, nothing was landing. I just kept hitting wall after wall after wall. And so I finally went before God and, was thinking, gosh, am I not supposed to be an itinerant anymore? Should I be getting another job or whatever? And I'm dialoguing with God about this and asking him. And I heard him say very clearly to me. Now, I don't always hear God like this, just so you know. Most of what I hear from God are like promptings and nudges. But this time I heard his voice inside my spirit. And he just said, when you do what I've asked you to do, I will fill up the rest of your calendar. And I knew what he was saying was, when I commit myself to those outreaches, 50% of my calendar, as he asked me to do, that he would then fill up the rest of my calendar. And I was like, confronted in that moment with that lack. I knew in that moment why I hadn't done it. And so I just prayed. I confessed that fear of lack to him. I confessed, just listening to that spirit of poverty. And I just asked him to go ahead and change my heart and mind about that, and to remember that he is Jehovah Jireh, the Lord my provider, and not events. It wasn't honorariums or anything else that was my provider. It's just God himself. And so after that time of confession, I went ahead and I sought him for which outreaches to commit to. I put them in the calendar. Within, I think, weeks, I don't remember exactly, but probably 3 or 4 weeks, the rest of my calendar got filled up for that year. And God provided every single bit of what I needed for the outreaches. He provided every single bit of what I needed just as a basic salary in order to live. He is so good. Now, you may not relate to this story from the sense of, you may not be an itinerant minister, but what I'm trying to highlight here is that within this general call that he has on all of our lives, there are very specific things that he asks us to do as part of his purpose and plan for our lives. And we're human, which means that we're going to have some mindsets that keep us from actually embracing that. I don't know what it is for you, but I want to encourage you to just ask God, like, okay, God, what is it that you have for my life if you don't already know? And if you do know and you've been experiencing resistance, have a dialogue with him about what that is about. I don't know what the obstruction is, but I do know this, that if there has been something, he knows and he can help you overcome it. God has a plan and a purpose for every single one of our lives. And not only is it this overarching plan, he also knows, because every single day is written in the book of life, how that is meant to play out. And we get a chance when we embrace the destiny that he has, we get the opportunity to carry his essence, his light, and his love wherever it is he has us called to go. And yes, because of that, we're going to meet with opposition. But when we sense that opposition and we ask for his help and he helps us overcome it, we gain more authority in moving in what God has called us to do. We get closer to God. We understand more of his nature, and it helps us as we continue on in the journey. Now, at the end of this video, I'm going to go ahead and point to that other video. It's 27 minutes long. I want to encourage you to listen to it, from stories from the Bible that I'm going to share, another personal story, and my favorite part of the video, leading you into time of prayer and meditation about this very topic. Once again, if you like this video, please like, subscribe, share, all the things. Thanks so much. God bless you. Have an amazing day. May God's face shine upon you.